Hey, I'm Warren Sprouse. You're on the Bible Forum. This is the end of November. Well, it's the 19th of November. It's toward the end. But the Republican dominated House of Representatives has passed a bill that potentially impacts our taxes next year. Do you know what it is that they set forth? What does it mean to you? Now, I'm used to seeing a standard deduction for my wife and a standard deduction for me. I should preface all of this. More and more people are letting other people do their taxes, or they are getting software that just says fill in the blank and it does it for you. I've never been able to do any of that. I tried the software one time, but this whole idea that I'm just putting information in, I don't know what they're doing. I can't go there. And I paid somebody to do my taxes one time, and he said I would owe, I forgot, it was $800, $1,000, some crazy number. And whoa, I never owed anything close to that in my life. And so I sat down and I went through them, and he had forgotten a deduction. This was a CPA. I called him. Oh, okay, send it back and I'll fix it. And when it came back, I was getting $200 back. And I called him up again. I said, I'm not entitled to the $200. What are you talking about? I said, you're getting that from my state form. Yeah. I said, I don't get the pastoral deduction on the state form that I get on the federal form. He said, no, you're entitled to it. I said, it doesn't say I can have it. He said, yeah, trust me. I said, here it is. I said, if they come after me for the $200, you're paying it. He said, not a problem. Guess what he charged me? $200. That was about 1990, I don't know, 92, 89, I don't know. The only time I ever paid anybody to do my taxes. I've been doing my taxes myself, and I've been doing pretty good. So I see this standard deduction for my wife and for myself. I see there's another deduction for each of my children, which I don't have anymore. There's a deduction for taxes that I pay on my home. There's a deduction for interest that I might have paid in various loans, whatever they might be. Well, the House bill changes that. According to thehill.com, the House bill would repeal the income and sales tax deductions and put a cap on the property tax deduction somewhere at $10,000. Now, I noticed one of our local representatives who was adamant that he was not going to vote for this bill, a fellow down here in South Carolina, apparently did. They listed all the people that voted against it. Of course, the Democrats, but all the Republicans. And his name wasn't there. There were 13 people who defected. He wasn't one of them. The 13 GOP defectors were Jones and New York Representatives Dan Donovan, John Faso, Pete King, Elise Stefanik, and Lee Zeldin. New York is a liberal state, even if they are Republicans. And in New Jersey, it was Representatives Rodney Frelinghuysen, Leonard Lance, Frank Lobiondo, Chris Smith. New Jersey is a liberal state, even though they are Republicans. And then there were the California Republicans, Darrell Issa, Tom McClintock, and Dana Rohrabacher. California is liberal. They want to secede from the Union. These guys are not really Republicans. It'll all work out someday. Most of the defectors are part of the Democratic targets. In 2018, the midterms, Democrats are going to go after these people because they're not really full-blooded Republicans, and I think Republican voters, conservatives, are going to see the difference, and maybe they won't survive some of these elections. We'll have to see. But the current personal deduction is $4,050 per person. If your income is less than $155,000, I don't know anybody that makes more than that. $4,000 per, $20,250 for a family of 5. It's $6,300 for individuals, $12,600 for married couples. The proposed plan would almost double the standard individual deduction to $12,000 or $24,000 for married couples, depending on how that works, and the increase in the per child tax credit, $1,000, so forth. So a family of 4 could conceivably have $26,000 or more of deductions off the top of whatever their income would be. The House would limit interest deductions to $500,000 in terms of the value of future home mortgages. Today you get $1 million, they're going to cut it in half. The House would also reduce and ultimately repeal the tax paid on the largest inheritances, the so-called death tax, and the alternate minimum tax rate paid by higher earning people would also be repealed. So what's that mean to the average person? Well, it would mean an immediate increase of deductions, potentially of more than $12,000. Families earning less than $100,000, that's a healthy increase. You're adding in your interest payments to credit card bills, mortgages, you're adding in your real estate taxes, you're deducting your church contributions, that's 10% of your gross income. It would amount to anywhere between $20,000 to $28,000 off your income before you even start. If you're listing the standard deduction on your salary, you get a tidy sum back when you file your taxes. All you have to do is get below the $18,000, I guess it's closer to $20,000 now, to get the low rate. I think it's 15%. Now, I've always managed my liability. I don't know what you guys do. When I was a wage roll employee in my youth, I claimed enough dependents so as not to have too much money taken out of my check. I couldn't see giving them all my money and then letting them use it for a year and giving it back to me at the end of the year without interest. I've also learned, going back into the workaday world, that you can opt out of any money being taken out for taxes. Now, maybe that's just for old people like me, but I didn't get that feeling. And if I were a young person, that's what I would do. I would put that money aside myself. When I was in my mid-20s, I had 2 children. I claimed 9. They took money out, but they didn't take a lot. And when it was all said and done, they still ended up giving me some money back, but not a big chunk. Now, I know some of you like to do this the other way, and then you get a big chunk of money back. It's a savings account, and I understand that. But I never owed taxes, and they never got my money to use free for a year. Today, they take no money out of my salary because I won't let them. And it's not a problem. We got to see what the Senate's going to do. But you'd have to earn at least $20,000 more than your current deduction is allowing for. And for me, I'd have to get another job before I'd have to pay any federal tax at all. It's the value of being poor. It's not the only advantage. There are several other issues I avoid being of modest income. And so it's all in how you look at it. But our elected officials are busy trying to figure all this stuff out. They like to make it complicated. I don't know why. Except that in complication, things are hiding. We'll see how they do. We'll get to vote for a lot of them next fall.